you. Yeah.
Hello,
Right.
PitchGround. Welcome back to another FounderGround. Today we get to meet the founder of Slazzer, Deep Sicar. And before we dive into that, my name is Richard
Right.
Chen, head of content. I got a little excited about introducing Deep today. And the reason why is because he has an innovative product that's going to help you guys with your digital editing in a way that you never possibly dream of before. So before we deep dive into that, I'm gonna give you a quick story about where I came from in digital marketing and why I'm so impressed with his product. As you guys may have heard from other webinars, I started off in sales and marketing, and I worked a lot of different jobs. And in 2016, I unfortunately had a car accident that set my entire career back. And it was unfortunate. A lot of things happen in life, and when things happen, sometimes you have to reinvent yourself. Sometimes you have to change what you're doing to get ahead of the game. So what I did was I started a digital marketing company, and one of my first projects was rebuilding people's websites, helping businesses launch on the web with WordPress sites, with Wix sites, with Squarespace sites. It didn't matter what the platform was. I found a way to learn the platform to help those launch. Now, what that was a lot of these businesses, they wanted cool looking photos where, like, let's say the founder of the company had their background photoshopped out, right? That's why
Mhm.
Photoshop was so popular 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, because people were like, wow, like you can
Yeah.
actually like manipulate these photos and do some cool stuff with it. Like you can take a picture against a white background, take it away, you can put me in
Right.
Hawaii, right? And that was attractive to a lot of people. Now, when I was doing it via Photoshop back in the day, it was so hard. You got to use the magic wand, then you got to use the lasso, then you got to
Right.
individually like cut out the pixels, and it took hours. And
Mhm.
nobody has time like that, right? Because when you're
Right.
billing by the hour, you can't charge your client 10 hours of work for cutting out one photo. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy, right? So that's why when Deep demonstrated how quickly he can use AI to help cut out the background of photos, I was like, no way, this is crazy. Like, I wish I had this 5 years ago. I would have sat there the whole day photoshopping one photo. Uh,
Right.
and that's why I'm so excited to have him join us today, because he will help you streamline your processes, because now you don't have to wonder or worry like how long will it take for me to edit a photo. Now you can quickly do it on the fly, and I'm actually going to share with you several cases of how I would personally use this at the end of this call. So make sure you guys watch the entire video, so that way you guys get the most out of what we have to offer. So before we dive into the product, Deep, why don't you actually share with us, where
Sure.
you're from?
Yeah. Sure. So, hi everybody. I'm from Kolkata, India, and basically I started my career working in an IT company around 5 years back, and I started as a mid-level Android developer, and from then I have been coding for almost 7 years now. And this was like 2 years back. Like me and my team, we were working on a project for one of our clients. Okay, and they happen to be one of the food delivery apps based in Canada. Now they have a lot of images that they process onto us, and we had to manually edit these images, and it was very time consuming for us. Okay, and also it was very difficult because it would take a lot of time and energy from our end. Okay, and we couldn't build the clients as well because the client was on a contract. Okay, so it's very difficult for us, and we thought that there had to be an easier way because it's the 21st century, right? As Richard said. So like we wanted to do this very quickly, but there was no other way. There was only Photoshop where you have to use the magic tool or the pen tool as we call it, and we had to manually do it. So then we brainstormed and we worked on it, and that is how we came up with the idea of Slazzer.com. So what Slazzer does is that it automatically takes care of the background removal processes using computer vision algorithms. So through computer vision, what we do is that we train the machine learning to understand what is the background image and what is the foreground image. And any image that you upload into Slazzer, you get the same output quality, but in 5 seconds, as compared to using Photoshop, which might take 1 to 2 hours. Not only, also to mention that Photoshop software costs a lot of money, and you have to keep on updating those softwares, and you also have to have a very professional guy who knows how to work with Photoshop because they keep on giving you updates, and a layman cannot use that. So it's very difficult. And also for batch processing of images, that is, there's no solution in Photoshop, because it's the same old way. So in our software, compared to Photoshop, what we do is that we have our API as well, and also our Windows Mac and desktop app. So you can give bulk images, like 1,000 images at a time, and you can just
Wow.
let go of it and do your other work. Yeah, and you can just focus on your other work. There's no need of staring at that screen or holding that pen tool and doing it manually, because it's totally automated. The AI will do all the hard work for you, so that you can focus on the other things of your work and not worry on the image cutting process. Also, with our tool, you get the application of putting a different image background or colored background. So after you're done having a cutout, you can easily have the background of your choice. And since with our API, you can easily use it as a plugin, or you integrate it with your existing application. That way, any e-commerce app who's having like millions of images, they can easily get the cutouts done in a matter of few seconds. So thereby saving a lot of time, money, and effort as well.
Awesome.
So
So I actually have a couple of questions because I'm not
sure.
sure what computer vision is. So can you actually
Okay.
explain to our viewers what computer vision is, how it works?
Yeah, so basically, computer vision is like, basically we have our AI model. Okay, now this model is like, let's say there are a lot of architecture models, like ResNet is there, ImageNet happens to be one of them. So these models are technically trained on a variety of images. Like ImageNet was trained on 14 million images. Okay, and they happen to be the largest library when it comes to images. Even Google, Microsoft, Facebook, they all adhere to it, and they all use that for their AI systems as well. So basically, computer vision, like with the algorithm, that is our proprietary algorithm, what we have done is that we have used the classification model, and we have trained it to understand that these are the background pixels. Now, let's say like there is two types of images, right? That is widely used. One is JPEG and one is PNG, right? So PNG image is basically your RGBA, which means red, green, blue, and alpha. Alpha as in the transparency, and then you have the JPG. JPG is RGB. So only three strands of colors are there. So using our technology, we are able to find the optimal pixels. Like even in like while using Photoshop, okay, since you mentioned Richard, if you zoom like 500 or 600% in a photo in Photoshop, you will see that the pixels are cracking, and then you will see in each part of the image there is one transparency layer, okay, or image layer of that particular pixel. So we use that technology to understand that this is the background pixel and this is the foreground pixels. So then what the AI does is that it passes onto its on its AI memory. Since it's already been trained upon similar like images, it understands very quickly that these are background components and these are the foreground components. So it takes the background foreground out and erases the background completely from the image. So that is how you
Wow, that
get the
sounds
idea.
awesome.
And yeah, it's pretty awesome, and just 5 seconds. And also, I would also like to mention, like, using Photoshop also, if you are doing manual cutouts, okay. Now let's say if I give you a very tricky image where the hair is flying, or you have very edgy images of, then it's very difficult. And also you would require a green screen to basically cut the images. But due to our tool, you don't require a green screen. That is the biggest achievement ever. Because right now, photographers and designers and people related to e-commerce also, when they have to do photo shoot, they go to a studio where basically a photographer needs to, or an editor really needs a green screen, because they cannot understand that which part of the image, like they cannot like do a proper cutout without the green screen, right? But with our tool, you don't need that. So you're saving a lot of money on studio, because studio charges are pretty expensive and they're like 300 $400. Okay, so you're saving that amount of money. Okay, and also you're getting a very very quick output at the end of the day, which matters a lot, right?
Exactly. And that's something that we all need to think about, right? If you look at
Right.
maybe 10 years ago, and I always like to
Mhm.
compare time frames because it definitely shows you how much technology has evolved, and it shows you
Mhm.
how if you don't evolve with the times, you will end up losing on a lot of opportunities. So you
Right.
gave a great point about having to hire a company or a photographer to do professional style
Yeah.
photos. But we all have amazing cell
Right.
phones that do almost the same level of
Yes.
quality,
Exactly.
right? You
Oh
don't
yes.
need a
Yes. Yes.
120
Right.
megapixel uh, photograph. You can take an iPhone or a
Right.
Google Pixel. Those
Right.
are the two top
Right.
phones right now for camera quality, and just take
Hmm.
photos off a phone that you already have, right? And then you
Right.
could take that, upload it into Slazzer, and immediately
Right. Yeah.
take
You
that
can. You
photo,
can.
take out the background, and you can start using it
Right.
right away. So that was actually
Right.
an
You can.
example I was going to talk about.
Mhm. Right. You can use it for like any kind of purpose. Like if you're an individual and if you're like liking to, if you like to take photos, okay, you can edit those photos as well. If you're a business, there is a lot of options because today business means that you need to market yourself, and to do marketing, you are relying heavily on images, right? And
Yep,
your images are speaking to your customers, and if they don't, if they don't attract attention, then your sales are going to be very poor, right? So with
exactly.
Slazzer, we made this tool thinking about marketers as well, so that they can easily get the output and the right kind of output. Because what happens, let's say, like I changed one image, okay, with the designer. They're charging me by the hour, right? And they charge me a lot of money, right? So if I suppose tomorrow I think that no, this is not looking good, then again I have to pay, right? But in Slazzer, what happens is that since the cost per image is so low that you really don't feel it because our charges starts from as low as $59, where you get around 1,000 images, right?
Yep. That's huge. I mean, I'm just right now
Mhm.
thinking about how quickly you can now turn around the work that
Right,
may be presented to you by a client, right? No, you're not spending that extra hour, 2 hours, 3 hours for each photo. Now you just
right,
bulk upload it,
right,
let it process,
right,
and work on something else for that client. Whereas in the past, it would take you so much longer to do that work. So
right,
if you guys are in that
right.
space where you're doing e-commerce, for example, for clients, where you're modifying photos, making sure it looks presentable, instead of having to worry about editing out the background, it's like a no-brainer right now. You can replace the background with
Yeah,
whatever you want. What
anyone can
maybe
do
it's like
that.
the company branding, right? The colors that they want to use. You let them know,
Anyone
like, hey,
can do that.
send us the photos. We will replace the background with the color
And
or scheme or image that you want, and we'll do that for you right away,
any
right?
right. And if you have, if you, we are already giving users the option to choose from the image gallery that we are having. Suppose if you don't like the images that we have and you have your own custom images, right? Then you can easily upload the custom image that you want to set as a background. And Slazzer automatically, what it will do is that after making the image transparent, it will automatically replace that with that image and give you the final output. So that
Right.
you don't need to go through any editing process ever. Like our goal is to make sure that everybody uh, saves more time and their effort. Okay, and they get the output at a much quicker way.
Awesome.
Right.
So I have a question about security because everyone's always gonna be like, "Well, I don't feel comfortable uploading my
Yeah.
content to
Yeah.
you. That's like
Right.
my
Right.
content, right?"
Right.
So, how do you
Right.
address data security?
So
What about GPDR, CCPA?
right. So what we are doing is that we are tagging each and every image with a CSRF token. So in that way, we can understand that images are being uploaded from which user, and no other third party vendor can hack into our site. Okay. Also on top of that, we have actually coded and it's hard coded into our software that every image that comes into our server, we don't keep a backup of it. It's mentioned in our website also that if you don't download your images in an hour, it will actually get lost because we are going to delete it. We are not going to keep any backup. So, and also in our server, we have a lot of other security processes as well. We are using mask technology to hide our IP, and also a lot of other things are there. So that way, we can make sure that that nobody can hack into your data, and it's also encrypted from both the ends.
Cool. Can you share with us what platform you host your servers on? Is it Google Cloud, AWS, Azure?
Sure. Yeah, so we are using AWS right now. We are using AWS Lambda, and also we are using another server that is based in India called E2E Networks. So these two
Awesome.
servers are there, and we are using a load balancer also to manage these two servers together. And we are using Cloudflare for that.
So basically, anywhere in the world, somebody can use Slazzer and they won't experience any type
Yeah,
of
no,
lag
no, no.
time.
We have a CDN also in place. From Cloudflare itself, we have our own, we have a CDN also, and that is in place. So that what happens is that as you're going, suppose if I give any updates right now, it will cache the content. So it doesn't need to reload the site every time. It doesn't need to hit the gateway every time. So the site loads very quicker in that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's very exciting to hear about because
Yeah.
there's so many people who are part of our community who I know that are digital marketers who deal with clients one way or another. And even if you're processing 2 images a week, right? Let's say on the bare minimum, you're only doing 2 images a week. Over the course of a year, you're processing hundreds of images, right? And you're processing hundreds of images. What if every image took you 1 to 2 hours? And that's the scope that you need to take
It
a look
actually
at
does.
when
It
you're
actually does.
working on a regular basis, right?
Richard, Richard, you won't believe it. It actually takes at least an hour. Like, suppose if I give this image that of you and me right now, and I give it to a Photoshop expert, I can
Yeah,
bet you on this. The person will at least take 30 to 40 minutes to give you a cutout. And right now, like, you have a very clear background, as I can see. But my background is like also you can say clear. But if the background was very difficult, okay, to understand, then that person would at least take more than an hour. And then also
exactly.
the chances of human mistakes are always there because it's a human at the end of the day. Okay. Now, uh, anybody who will give those images, they'll be in bulk, right? There won't be one or two. So a photographer will like, let's talk about a wedding photographer, for instance, or any kind of photographer. So they take million, like so many images, right? Now, when they go and they do the editing by themselves, they are like losing on a lot of time, and time is money right now. If you save your time, they can use that time to garner to more clients, right? But
Exactly. Yep.
but editing takes a maximum time.
So I have a question about, I guess, what you just talked about. So you said that human beings can create errors, but let's say hypothetically you process an image through Slazzer and it isn't exactly how you would like it to be. Are you able to go back in there and maybe tell the AI, like, hey, like, can you include like this portion of the photo in that
Oh yes, yes,
photo that?
yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you go to our site and if you go to the editor, okay, and if you click on the editor, like if you want, I can show it to you right now. So basically, we have our editor in place, okay. So what happens is, suppose that there are some fragments of the image that you think that you want to keep in that image, okay. So you just go to the editor, and we have the restore button. You click on the restore, so it's basically like a eraser. So the part of the image that you want to be there, you just mark out that part, and that part automatically comes back. So that way, you are working with the AI. The AI is doing the work in, let's say, 5 seconds. Suppose you want some like you want to personalize that image for you, you can also do that.
That's huge. I mean, making your editing so much faster, so much easier. I believe that's such a game changer for anybody who's in the photo editing world or image editing world. Uh, that's just so spectacular that the software is able to help you speed up your workflow. And I already have a whole list of people that I'm going to recommend the product to because I know they spend the most part of their
Thank you.
day editing photos for like Amazon,
Right.
for eBay, right? Because
Yeah.
when you let go to those platforms, and this is a tangent from Slazzer, but when you guys
Right.
go to the most popular selling products, it's always
Mhm.
the most beautiful. It's always the same type of image. It's always shot in a certain type of way, and there's almost no background. As a matter of fact, I believe Amazon requires you to upload photos that have
Yes.
no background,
Exactly.
right?
And
So,
right,
if,
you're exactly right. And also eBay. eBay
and
also.
eBay,
So
yeah.
on eBay, you have to have a transparent background. So these two things are very much required with Amazon. And also, if you even if you don't keep a transparent background, your chances of sale goes down a lot lesser, Because think about it, if the image is not clear, the person is not communicating with the founder or with the owner, or with the person who's selling, right? They're communicating via the images they are projecting. So if your images are not clear, then the message behind the images are not clear. So the buyer gets confused, and the chances are that you will lose on a lot of sales, right?
Yep. It's how they say about first impressions, right? In the first 3 seconds, you figure out if you like somebody or
Exactly.
not, right? So same thing with your
Yeah.
images. If you guys are in ecom, I'm telling you right now, I've done this so many times. I visited a website, I read a product description I was gonna buy, and then I looked at the image. I'm like, wow, that's not a professional image. Like, is this product really
Right.
gonna do
And
what they
also,
say it's gonna do?
right. And since you talk about websites, like when we are building websites, we also need to make it more lucrative and more attractive by giving a lot of images. So, like wherever, like like the possibilities of Slazzer is endless right now, because like our tool works with images. It's basically so wherever there is a requirement for image, Slazzer will be useful to them,
Another example I
right?
want to give you guys before we go today is Apple, right? We all know who Apple is. And every time they create a website for a new product, it's always just a white background and they just take that product and put it in the middle of the screen, right? And there's clearly no, obviously no background to it because as you're scrolling, it animates, it changes. So that's probably something you could do with Slazzer too. You take your product, wipe out the background, leave it transparent, and then put it onto your website, present it the same way that Apple does, right? And
Right, exactly.
I'm the type of person that will always look at the successful brands and say, well, what are they doing right? What's making their product so successful in sales? What's making their product so attractive in marketing, right? And
Right.
it's what Deep said earlier. There are no distractions. When they're selling you something, it's right in the middle of your screen, in your
Right.
face, saying, "Hey, this is what you're buying. This is what this product is about. Look at all the features." They'll zoom in onto a certain feature, again,
Mhm.
crop out everything that
Mhm.
doesn't matter, and just focus on that one feature, right? They'll focus on the camera. They'll focus on the I don't know, the backside, right? Like Apple does all these cool things with the way they
Right.
market their brand. And it's
Mhm.
always involved with the the imagery that's
Mhm.
presented. So if you guys have awesome products that you sell or you work with clients that sell awesome products, help them up their image game by helping them leverage off the technologies available to remove the background, replace it with something else, or all the above, right? You can mix and match, do whatever you please to set it up for the maximum output, the maximum, I guess, attractiveness for your customers.
Mhm.
So I'm very excited to see what you're going to be sharing with us for the next couple webinars. Just so you guys know, tomorrow we're going to deep dive more into the issues within the industry, costs involved with photo editing. We're going to talk more about hardware. We're going to talk about software. We're going to talk about uh, everything from manual process versus AI process. We're going to talk about your impact,
Right.
what value you can bring to the marketplace through e-commerce and through social media marketing. So it's a lot of content to cover tomorrow. So I hope you guys are joining us. If you can't join us, make sure you register so that way you guys get the recording. Then on Monday, we're going to be talking about all the features within Slazzer. We're going to talk about all the ways you can use Slazzer as a business, whether you want to sell it to somebody else as a service or use it for yourself to enhance your offerings to your clients. So that's a lot to talk about. So that's going to be really exciting. And then on Tuesday, the day that we launch, we're going to be launching on May 5th. We are going to go live and we're actually going to take photos and start processing them like this and
Yeah.
sharing the screen so that way you guys know it's not manipulated. And to step it up, I want you guys to send me photos. Email me richard@pitchground.com and I will go out there and send it to Deep so that way he will edit your photos. So that way you can see how quickly and how beautifully it'll take off the background and you can start using those images right away. So I encourage you guys to go and do that. That ends my time for today. Deep, any last words for our audience?
Well, like we'll be like showing you more exciting stuff. So stay tuned and yeah.
Awesome. So thank you, Dee, for joining us today. We're so excited to have you launch with us next Tuesday. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time, guys. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great
Thanks a
day.
lot. Thanks a lot.